Hey, take a look at this. It's a nutrition label, and this number shows how much sodium is included. Doctors warn us about eating too much of it, yet without it, you would die. So, what exactly is sodium, and why does this ordinary looking ingredient have such a powerful effect on the human body? Well, when you hear the word sodium, what comes to mind first? Perhaps it's this, or maybe even this. But what really is sodium? What is it used for, and how does it affect us? What happens if you have too little or too much of it? Why does every food label in the supermarket have a number telling us the sodium content in each of its products? This isn't sodium. Well, not exactly. This is sodium. Sodium is a chemical element, the 11th on the periodic table, and has this chemical symbol Na, named after the Latin word natrium. It is solid at room temperature and is a silvery, shiny metal, soft and very squishy, but is extremely reactive to air and water, oxidizing within seconds of being exposed, and reacting violently when dropped in water.
Very unpredictable reaction. You don't know what's going to happen. So right now it's releasing a lot of hydrogen gas and it's also ignited with a yellow flame and it just exploded as well.
We can't actually find its pure form in nature, as it reacts too violently with other substances, and we have to extract it from naturally found versions of it, such as sodium chloride, which is literally just table salt. But what do we really use it for? Sodium has been used for thousands of years as a condiment in its salt form, used to give flavor to foods that would otherwise be bland. It was also used to preserve food, as bacteria cannot survive in very salty environments. This meant that food could remain edible for much longer, long before refrigerators were invented. However, it is also useful to us in a more biological sense. Sodium is needed for all animals and some plants to survive and function properly. Sodium helps transmit nerve impulses, enables muscle contractions, and regulates the balance of fluids inside and outside cells. The average adult contains roughly 100 grams of sodium throughout their body, some of which is periodically lost through sweat, urine, and feces. However, this lost sodium is easily replaced by eating. The average American consumes around 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, well above the recommended amount. But, like many things in biology, balance is key. Too little or too much sodium can be dangerous. Abnormally low blood sodium is called hyponatremia, while abnormally high blood sodium is called hypernatremia. Hyponatremia is relatively uncommon and is usually not caused by eating too little sodium. Instead, it most often occurs when the body consumes too much water. However, in the case of low sodium, your cells begin to swell and your body's water level rises. This causes symptoms such as headache, confusion, restlessness, weakness, and even seizures and coma in extreme cases. This can be caused by underlying medical conditions such as kidney failure, heart failure, and liver cirrhosis. It can also be caused by other external factors such as diuretics, antidepressants, or recreational or non-medical drugs such as MDMA, otherwise known as ecstasy or Molly. Treatment depends on the cause and severity. Mild cases may improve with just drinking less water, while severe cases often require hospital treatment and IV electrolytes. While true hypernatremia, meaning abnormally high sodium levels in the blood, is relatively uncommon, consistently consuming too much sodium can still be harmful. Even when blood sodium levels remain normal, excess sodium can contribute to high blood pressure and place extra strain on the cardiovascular system. Over time, this increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and death, leading to an overall worse quality of life. Potassium helps counteract some of sodium's effects on blood pressure, which is one reason diets rich in fruits and vegetables are associated with better cardiovascular health. Or, of course, you could simply consume less sodium. The American Heart Association recommends a maximum daily intake of 2,300 milligrams of sodium for adults, while the World Health Organization recommends 2,000 milligrams. For reference, 1 gram of salt contains 387.6 milligrams of sodium. Therefore, the daily maximum is around 5 grams, which is about a teaspoon. However, the average American intake is 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, which is way above the recommended safe limit. But why is this? Why are they willing to risk their health by ingesting so much sodium? The answer is not in the individual, but in the foods they eat, in the companies serving these highly processed and heavily salted foods. Salt enhances flavor by suppressing bitterness and making other tastes more intense. Food manufacturers often add significant amounts of salt because it improves taste, increases shelf life, and encourages consumers to enjoy and repurchase their products. Research suggests that foods rich in salt activate the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and making these foods especially appealing. However, salt itself is not generally considered addictive in the same way as substances such as nicotine or opioids. Salt also acts as a preservative, as mentioned before, and allows for food to be processed more efficiently, making it cheaper and quicker. Governments are aware of sodium's impact on public health. That's why nutrition labels of food products in countries such as the United States are required to display sodium content, helping consumers understand how much they're actually eating. Sodium is one of the most important elements for life. Every nerve impulse, every heartbeat, and every muscle contraction depends on it. Yet the same element that keeps us alive can be extremely harmful when consumed in excess. We cannot survive without it. From preserving food in ancient civilizations to regulating every cell in your body, sodium has shaped human history and remains essential to life. Now, the next time you look at a nutrition label and see the sodium content listed, you'll know exactly why it's there.